Okay, so for this example, we want to graph a linear equation, which is y equals 4 over 3x minus 2 by finding the x and y intercepts. We do not want to find a table of values and then plot all of these points on the graph. No, what we want to do is just to go ahead the x and y intercepts and then go ahead and graph the line for the equation. So based on the property that was given to you on the previous slide, we know that in order to find the x-intercept, we have to set y equals 0. And that is something that I mentioned on the previous video. So when we are plotting a point, which is an x-intercept on our x-axis, right, our y is always equal to 0. So this is how we're going to find our x-intercept for this particular linear equation. So we have y equals 4 over 3 x minus 2. However, instead of y, we're going to plug in 0. I'm going to go ahead and add 2 on both sides. So 2 is going to cancel out on the right. We have 2 equals 4 over 3x. Now I want to cancel that 4 over 3, so I'm going to multiply times the reciprocal, so times 3 over 4 on both sides. So 3 and the 4 cancel out on the right. And we have x equals 2 times 3, which is 6 over 4, or x equals 3 over 2. So our x-intercept, it's going to be 3 over 2, comma 0. Okay? So our x is 3 over 2 and our y value is 0. Now let's go ahead and find the y-intercept. So it works the same way. Just instead of y being 0, now our x equals 0. So the y-intercept is where we cross the y-axis, right? So we're going to have y equals 4 over 3 x minus 2. But again, instead of x, we're going to plug in 0. So we end up with 4 over 3 times 0, which is 0 minus 2. So y equals negative 2. So our coordinate point is going to look like 0, comma negative 2, because our x was 0 and our y ended up being negative 2. So this is our y-axis. This is our x-axis. I'm going to go ahead and number them both. And in this case, I'm going to skip by 1. So I'm just going to leave it simple and go by 1s. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, negative 6, and then negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, and then I'm going to do one more, negative 6. So the first point that I'm going to look at is my x-intercept, which is 3 over 2 equals 0. Now 3 over 2 is 1.5, so I'm going to go to 1.5 on the x-axis. And it's going to be right here. Now I know that I don't have to move up or down because this is my x-intercept. That means that this is where the line crosses the x-axis, so it has to be on that line. Now I'm going to go ahead and look at my y-intercept, which is 0, negative 2. So I'm going to go to negative 2. I'm going to plot that point right there. This is my y-intercept. And now I can just go ahead and put the points together, and that is where our line goes through. So that's how we graph a line using the x and y intercepts. So remember that in order to graph a line, just to graph and plot a line, we need at least 2 points. So if we have the x and the y intercepts, then that's enough for us to be able to graph the line in the coordinate plane.